Well, the island nation of Sri Lanka is in the midst of a political crisis, and come January the 1st, it's unclear if there will be any funds available for public programs. All of this is happening because their prime minister was fired 2 months ago, leaving the country without a functioning government. So he has since been reinstated, but not before months of unrest and mass protests in the streets there. Joining me now to discuss this, Upali Obeyesekere. He's the managing editor of the Times of Sri Lanka. Great to have you with us to break this story down this morning.
My pleasure, Melissa.
So let's go back 2 months ago. Take us back to what happened and what has happened in the window of the last 2 months.
What happened was like 51 days ago, the president of Sri Lanka made a very rash and unprecedented decision to remove the incumbent prime minister, Ranil Wickremesinghe, from his post. Now, this led to total disarray in the country. And following the removal of the prime minister, the president appointed the former president of Sri Lanka, Mahinda Rajapaksa, in his place. Now, once this happened, the day after the appointment of the second prime minister, Rajapaksa, the president prorogued parliament. And so October 26th was the date that he removed the first prime minister, the incumbent. October 27th, he appointed the succeeding prime minister, and he prorogued parliament.
This clearly did not go over well, as we're showing some of the footage here of the protests that happened. The economy, jobs, they have taken a direct hit as a result of the unrest that is happening in Sri Lanka now. What does that look like exactly?
Well, in the 51 days that all this was happening, the economy and tourism, which is the largest revenue earner for Sri Lanka, it definitely took a hit. What happened was there were travel advisories against Sri Lanka or warning tourists from coming to Sri Lanka. So that had a downstream effect on the tourism, which Sri Lanka depends a lot on for its revenue. So if the tourists held back in coming to Sri Lanka, at the same time, the revenue was lost.
Of course.
And that way, the economy was lost. As far as the jobs were concerned, there is no indication that there were any jobs lost as such.
Okay.
I must clarify that.
Okay.
But definitely tourism was hit. And for 51 days, the country was paralyzed.
So now the prime minister was reinstated, perhaps as a result of all of the protests and the unrest by the people there. Is this what it's going to take to get the country back on track, or is it already starting to quiet down? Is the chaos subsiding?
Well, the chaos has subsided. 51 days after the original decision was taken, the judiciary, the Supreme Court, consisting of a 7-judge bench, passed judgment saying that what the president did was unconstitutional and illegal, and therefore he reinstated, or rather he directed the president to reinstate the incumbent president back again and to summon parliament back again. So basically, today, as we look, things have come back to normal from a parliamentary dynamics. And the finance minister, Mangala Samaravira, he has said that he's presenting the vote on account, which means that he's asking for money to run the country for the first quarter of 2019.
Okay.
It should be presented today, and I'm sure that it will get passed.
Okay.
So that's the first course of getting the country back into shape.
So there's a lot to watch for early 2019, is what you're saying. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Upali, a very complicated situation, but we really appreciate that you're able to put that into such terms for us today and clarify.
My pleasure.
Thank you, and we'll be watching.
Yes.
We'll be watching what happens there. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.